Dao De Jing, pronounced Dao De Jing, with Dao rhyming with now. Chapter 11. This chapter asks you to look at what is not there, and realize that the nothing is doing all the work. Their original text, in classical Chinese, San Shi Fu Gong Yi Gu Dang Kai Wu Yu Qi Zhai Yang, Shan Zhai Yi Wei Kai Dang Kai Wu Yu Kai Zhai Yang, Zhao Hu Yu Yi Wei Shi Dang Kai Wu Yu Shi Zhai Yang, Hu Yu Zhai Yi Wei Lai Wu Zhai Yi Wei Yang. In English, 30 spokes share one hub. It is the empty center that makes the wheel of use. Clay is shaped into a vessel. It is the hollow space within that makes the vessel of use. Doors and windows are cut into walls to make a room. It is the empty space that makes the room of use. Therefore, what exists provides advantage, what is empty provides usefulness. 3 images. Each one does the same thing. It points at what is absent and says, that is the thing that works. Start with a wheel. 30 spokes all converge on a single hub, the center point of a wagon wheel. The wood and iron of those spokes are real, solid, present, but what allows an axle to pass through? What allows the wheel to turn? A hole, an emptiness at the center. Without that nothing, the wheel is an ornament. The nothing is not a defect in the design. It is the design. Second image. A clay pot. The potter's hands press and shape the material, building up walls, a base, a rim. All that skilled labor creates. What? A container for air. The clay is useful only to the degree that it successfully encloses emptiness. A pot without an interior is a lump. The interior is not what the potter makes. It is what the potter's making allows to exist. Third image. A room. You cut a hole in a wall for a door. You cut holes for windows. The house is all solid material. Timber, stone, plaster. But you live in none of that. You live in the space the solid material surrounds. The gaps are not failures of construction. They are the point of construction. Then comes the summary line, and it is deceptively clean. What exists provides advantage. What is empty provides usefulness. The Chinese word Chinese letter, lai, means benefit, profit, advantage. The word Chinese letter, yòng, means function, use, the capacity to do work. Laozi is drawing a line. Solid things give you something to hold, to own, to point at. Empty things give you something to do, to be in, to move through. Both matter, but we habitually notice the first and forget the second. This is not saying that emptiness is better than substance. The wheel needs its spokes. The pot needs its clay. The room needs its walls. The point is relational. What you can see and touch is not the whole of what is there. The capacity for function lies in the part that isn't. Where this goes depends on what you bring to it. If you think about physical design, Chapter 11 is just obvious once you see it, and then you cannot stop seeing it. Every tool is a managed arrangement of presence and absence. A handle is solid so you can grip it. The grip space is empty so your hand can close. A cup has a bottom but not a top. A key works because of its gaps as much as its teeth. But Laozi wrote this before wheels and pots became engineering problems. He was pointing at something about how we think about value. We have a strong tendency to mistake the tangible for the real. A company owns buildings and equipment and inventory. That is what you can count. But what does the company actually do? Often the useful thing is invisible. A coordination, a trust, a gap where transactions flow. We fund the spokes and ignore the hub. There is a quieter version of this for a person. We tend to account for ourselves by what we have accumulated: knowledge, credentials, opinions, busyness. Chapter 11 asks a different question. Where is the empty center? What are you holding space for? A person who is completely full of certainty, of plans, of noise, may be, in this sense, without use, not because what they have is wrong, but because there is no room for anything to move through them. That is worth sitting with, not concluding. Laozi does not tell you what your hub should hold. He just reminds you the hub has to be there. What is absent is not nothing. That is the whole chapter. The next chapter is 12.